Flying at 35,000 feet, you trust your life to the airline below your seat. But what if that trust is misplaced? While aviation has never been safer overall, some airlines are still operating with blood on their hands and secrets in their cockpits. From governments hiding crash investigations to pilots with fake licenses from aging fleets held together by hope to regulators who look the other way. These carriers represent everything that can go wrong when safety takes a backseat to profit. These are the top 10 most dangerous airlines still flying today, and their stories will shock you. 10. PNG Air. PNG Air operates in one of the world's most challenging aviation environments, but that's only part of the problem. This Papua New Guinea carrier lacks the IATA Operational Safety Audit certification, which is a massive red flag in the industry. The airline has been involved in multiple fatal crashes over the years, with aircraft striking mountains in poor visibility and exploding shortly after takeoff. In 1995, a twin otter exploded and crashed into shallow water, killing 13 people. Just a year later, another aircraft struck a mountain on approach to Mendi, killing 20 passengers and crew. The rugged terrain and unpredictable weather of Papua New Guinea are unforgiving, but PNG Air's safety record suggests the problems go deeper than geography. Without proper international oversight, this airline remains one you should avoid. 9. Yeti Airlines. Yeti Airlines made global headlines for one of the most horrifying crashes caught on camera. In January 2023, an ATR-72 aircraft crashed on final approach to Pokhara, killing all 72 people on board. Passengers were live streaming on social media as the plane went down, capturing the final terrifying moments. The investigation revealed that pilots failed to follow standard landing procedures and accidentally feathered the propellers, cutting all power when they meant to set the flaps. This wasn't a mechanical failure or bad weather. It was pure pilot error that could have been prevented with proper training. The crash was widely publicized with videos from the ground, and even from inside the cabin, going viral worldwide. Yeti Airlines operates in Nepal, a country with one of the worst aviation safety records on the planet. The airline's lack of adherence to basic procedures and inadequate crew training makes it a gamble every time you board. 8. Soria Airlines. Soria Airlines crashed spectacularly in July 2024, and the details reveal an airline that had no business being in the air. The aircraft was carrying 19 people, including the airline's Chief of Quality Assurance, Chief of Safety, Continuing Airworthiness Manager, and Maintenance Manager when it went down, moments after takeoff from Kathmandu. 18 people died, including nearly the entire senior leadership team. The final investigation was damning, revealing that the airline ignored procedures, cut corners on maintenance, and operated with shocking disregard for safety standards. Even more disturbing, the aircraft was reportedly heading to Pokhara for heavy maintenance checks, raising the question of why so many people were aboard a plane that needed major repairs. Nepal's Civil Aviation Authority failed to properly oversee the airline, allowing these violations to continue unchecked. Soria Airlines became a textbook example of how not to run an airline and paid the ultimate price. 7. China Airlines. China Airlines has racked up 9 fatal crashes throughout its history, making it one of the deadliest carriers still operating today. In 2002, Flight 611 disintegrated in mid-air over the Taiwan Strait, killing all 225 people on board. The cause was metal fatigue from an improper repair after a previous tail strike, showing that maintenance failures can have catastrophic consequences years later. Just 8 years earlier, in 1994, Flight 140 crashed during landing in Nagoya, Japan, killing 264 people. The crew accidentally activated the takeoff mode during landing and then failed to regain control as the autopilot fought against their manual inputs. These weren't freak accidents, they were failures of maintenance training and cockpit communication. While China Airlines has modernized its fleet and improved safety procedures in recent years, the shadow of its deadly past still looms large. With nearly 500 deaths attributed to the airline's accidents, it remains a carrier with a troubling legacy. 6. Korean Air. Korean Air was once described as an industry pariah notorious for fatal crashes and an embarrassment to the nation. Between 1970 and 1999, the airline wrote off 17 aircraft in serious incidents, killing 700 people. The deadliest was Flight 807, shot down by the Soviet Union in 1983, killing all 269 people, including a sitting US congressman. In 1997, Flight 801 crashed into a hillside in Guam, killing 228 people due to pilot fatigue, inadequate training, and poor cockpit communication. South Korea's president was so embarrassed, he refused to fly Korean Air and chose their rival, Asiana, instead. The airline's safety culture was dissected by aviation experts who pointed to hierarchical Korean social dynamics preventing junior crew from challenging captains' mistakes. Korean Air brought in outside consultants from Boeing and Delta and made significant safety improvements in the 2000s. While the airline has gone over 2 decades without a fatal passenger crash, its dark history still haunts its reputation. 5. China Eastern Airlines. China Eastern Airlines is at the center of one of aviation's most disturbing mysteries. In March 2022, Flight 5735 suddenly plunged into a vertical dive and crashed into a mountainside, killing all 132 people on board. The Boeing 737 was cruising normally when it dropped from 35,000 feet in less than 2 minutes. Black box data recovered by US investigators suggested the crash was deliberate, with flight controls pushed from inside the cockpit. But here's where it gets even darker. The Chinese government has refused to release the investigation report, citing risks to national security and social stability. 3 years later, the world still doesn't know what really happened or why. This unprecedented secrecy has raised serious questions about transparency and accountability in Chinese aviation. Families of victims have been left without answers, and the international community without closure. Flying China Eastern means trusting an airline whose government would rather hide the truth than reveal what went wrong. 4. Jeju Air. Jeju Air suffered South Korea's deadliest aviation disaster in December 2024, when Flight 2216 crashed at Muan International Airport, killing 179 of 181 people on board. The Boeing 737-800 was returning from Bangkok when a bird strike caused engine problems. The pilots declared Mayday and attempted an emergency belly landing, but the aircraft slid off the runway at high speed and slammed into a concrete barrier, exploding on impact. Only 2 crew members survived. The investigation revealed disturbing details. The black boxes mysteriously stopped recording 4 minutes before the crash, and the aircraft had previously been damaged in a tail strike incident that Jeju Air tried to downplay. The airline operates its planes at one of the highest utilization rates in the industry, flying them 11.6 hours per day, which raises serious questions about maintenance and crew fatigue. South Korean authorities raided Jeju Air's offices and banned the CEO from leaving the country. The airline's aggressive cost-cutting and relentless schedule appear to have caught up with devastating consequences. 3. Pakistan International Airlines. Pakistan International Airlines is a masterclass in aviation failure with a safety record so bad it was banned from European Union airspace for nearly 5 years. In May 2020, a PIA Airbus crashed in Karachi, killing 97 people and triggering an investigation that uncovered a shocking scandal. Nearly 1/3 of Pakistan's pilots had obtained their licenses through cheating or outright fraud. 260 out of 860 commercial pilots had fake or suspicious licenses, including 150 PIA pilots. The airline was immediately banned from flying to Europe, the UK, and faced restrictions from the US Federal Aviation Administration. PIA has been plagued by outdated aircraft, poor service, financial instability, and a complete lack of public trust. The airline lost an estimated $150 million per year during the ban, and its reputation was destroyed globally. While the EU lifted the ban in early 2025 after reforms, the damage is done. Flying PIA means gambling on an airline that allowed fraudulent pilots in their cockpits for years. 2. Nepal Airlines. Nepal has earned the unfortunate title of having the worst aviation safety record in the entire world, and Nepal Airlines flies right at the center of this disaster. The country has suffered 8 crashes in just the past 3 years, with 6 being fatal and killing over 100 people. Every single Nepali airline is banned from European Union airspace due to serious concerns about regulatory oversight and safety standards. The Civil Aviation Authority of Nepal is critically understaffed, corrupt, and more interested in building fancy airports than enforcing basic safety rules. The agency both regulates airlines and operates airports, creating a massive conflict of interest where they police themselves. Investigations into crashes score abysmally, meeting only 25% of international standards. Nepal's challenging Himalayan terrain and unpredictable weather make flying dangerous, but the real problem is systematic failure of oversight and accountability. Pilots receive inadequate training, aircraft are poorly maintained, and violations go unpunished. Nepal Airlines represents everything wrong with aviation in a country where corruption and incompetence have deadly consequences. 1. Aeroflot. Aeroflot is universally recognized as the worst large airline in the world, with a safety rating of 0 out of 10 from airlineratings.com. Let that sink in, 0 out of 10. The Russian state carrier has accumulated over 8,000 deaths in crashes throughout its history, more than 5 times any other airline. Between 1946 and 1989, Aeroflot was involved in 721 incidents, making it statistically the most dangerous way to fly. While the airline shrank dramatically after the Soviet Union collapsed and recent decades have seen fewer accidents, the fundamental problems remain. Nobody trusts their official accident statistics in a country where state media cannot be questioned and transparency doesn't exist. A flight carrying a Putin rival mysteriously exploded in mid-air in 2023, raising questions about whether flying Aeroflot means risking more than just mechanical failure. The planes are often outdated, the safety culture is opaque, and international oversight is virtually impossible. All 6 airlines that scored 0 out of 10 are Russian carriers, showing systematic problems across the entire country's aviation industry. Aeroflot stands as a warning about what happens when profits and politics matter more than human lives. Which airline on this list shocked you the most? Or have you ever had a close call with any of these carriers? Share this with anyone planning to travel soon, because this information could save their life.